One congregation's journey back home has been measured in months, not days. Today, though, members returned to their campus while reflecting on the neighbors who stood beside them along the way. This comes after Christ United Methodist Church's organ caught fire earlier this year, and now its members built a relationship with people at Temple Beth El. Reporter Madeline Korzeniewski shows us why this day meant so much.
My husband grew up in this church. We met here. So this place is very special to us. It's, where we met and got married.
Gretchen Beeman and the Christ United Methodist Church congregation in Rockford worshiped in one place for the first time since February 2026, when an organ fire damaged the sanctuary.
It was fear. It was concern about the well-being of our congregation. And then it turned to panic about what are we going to do through the season of Lent.
For generations, families like Beeman's called this church home. While no injuries reported in the fire, the congregation needed somewhere to worship. This is when Temple Beth El opened its doors, welcoming its members until its church was restored.
I reached out to a friend of mine who used to be the pastor here and said, do you have the phone number for the current pastor? Much of what we do is the same, and that's what connects us.
We've been separated into two separate rooms. Fellowship hall, it was closed. We normally after church have the ability to just talk to each other, and that's been very hard. We're worshiping in two separate areas.
That made Sunday's service about more than returning to campus. It celebrated the friendship, generosity, and shared community built in the months following the sanctuary's fire.
So to be back here with our entire congregation worshiping together has been incredible.
Sunday was the first step back home, even as crews work inside the sanctuary.
I think the reality for people is we all have differences and they can be big or small, but I think there's more that we share in common.
In Rockford, I'm Madeline Korzeniewski.
Church leaders say they don't know when these repairs will be done, but they hope to welcome members back into the space once things are complete.